Everybody's talking about GLP-1s right now. Ozempic, Wegovy, and the biggest part of the conversation is how much these drugs quiet food noise. If you don't know what food noise is, you might know it when I describe it. It's a constant mental chatter about food. You finish lunch and you're already thinking about dinner. You are trying to work and your brain keeps drifting to what's in the fridge. If you're in an office, somebody might have brought in donuts, and that thought of those donuts might not be escaping your mind. You might not even be hungry, but your brain keeps playing all of the food that's surrounding you on loop. I lived with that for most of my life, and figuring out how to control that was a big part of my 110-pound weight loss. I still don't have it under control. I just recently listened to a podcast where the podcaster was explaining where you can set a plate of donuts down on a table in front of 4 people. And one of those people might be using 70% of their brain power to not think about the donuts, while the other 3 people might just be having a simple conversation and the donuts don't even cross their mind. I know that exact scenario. When I lost the 110 pounds, figuring out how to control that noise was more important than any other aspect of the diet. I didn't take a GLP-1. I know plenty of people that are currently taking them. It's a large number of people that are currently on these drugs. Taking those drugs are a decision that everybody needs to make on their own with themselves and with their doctor. I have nothing against them. Personally, it just wasn't the right choice for me. So I found 3 things that work on the same basic mechanism. And today I want to show you exactly what those are. I've been talking about them a lot in my recent videos, so we're just going to kind of mash everything together into one video to make it incredibly easy. I want to talk about what the science says and also look at some real food. Okay, so let's start with the drug, because understanding how it works can help you understand how food can do something similar at a smaller scale. GLP-1 stands for glucagon-like peptide 1. Your body already makes it naturally. It's a gut hormone released by your intestinal cells when you eat. Its entire job is to signal your brain that you've had enough to eat. It then slows gastric emptying, suppresses glucagon, and critically, it acts on the brain's region that controls rewards and cravings. A 2026 review published in a medical journal described food noise as, and I'm paraphrasing here, a form of thinking characterized by repetitive, cue-driven mental stimulation of short-term reward. In plain English, your brain is rehearsing the reward that it's going to get when it gets to the food that it wants, even when your body doesn't need more food. What the GLP-1 drug does is flood those receptors at levels that your body just cannot reproduce. And researchers have found when doing that they reduce the activity in the brain circuits that generate that food loop, that reward loop. I saw a video where they did some brain scans on people with food set in front of them, and one of them, the scan showed the reward system, and on the other person, there was no reward system firing with the food in front of them. And the person without that reward system going on was on GLP-1s. So a quick story, when I was first losing weight and first training for running, when I was first learning how to run, I was imagining family and friends cheering for me and being excited for me. That is the reward loop. That's the reward system that I was picturing, that scenario that was pushing me forward. That same thing happens subconsciously with food. Your brain is imagining how good that donut is going to taste, how good the snacks are in your fridge, how incredible the pretzel is in your pantry. And it runs through those constantly. So real quick, I want to make it very clear that food is not a GLP-1 replacement. I see a lot of content creators saying this food is the natural Ozempic. This is the natural GLP-1. And unfortunately, it truly does not exist. I am not going to stand here and tell you that eating lentils is the same as taking a semaglutide. It isn't, regardless of what so many influencers are trying to push. The pharmacological dose that these drugs deliver to your receptors is not something a diet can replicate. Not even close. If you are someone whose doctor has recommended a GLP-1, that is between you and your doctor. I'm not here to try to recommend you out of taking it. What I am here to talk about is the underlying mechanism, because your body already has that system built in. It already makes GLP-1, and the research is clear that specific foods do stimulate a natural secretion meaningfully, not at the drug levels, but enough to matter how you feel, how loud the noise is, and whether you might end up at the fridge at 10 p.m. for the third time this week. And there are 3 things that pull that lever: protein, fiber, and volume. Between marathon training, making videos, figuring out what to eat every week used to be a chore. Sometimes more of a chore than the training itself. I've been using Hungry Root for a couple of years now, and honestly, it just keeps getting more dialed in. They learn what I actually want and keep refining my order around that. So as my goals or preferences shift, my groceries shift with it. Like I just discovered these butternut squash raviolis. They're incredibly good, super easy to cook, and it's been in my cart every week since. With over 50,000 recipes and over 1,000 grocery items to choose from, many ready within 15 minutes or less, there's always something new, and it never feels like the same 5 meals on repeat. And it's not like it's a meal kit. It's groceries, recipes, smoothies, snacks, ready-to-eat meals, salad kits, and even supplements. So they're covering actual grocery shopping, not just dinner. And if you're like me, you also care about what's in the food. Hungry Root screens out over 200 additives: high fructose corn syrup, artificial sweeteners, preservatives. I know what I'm getting every single time. Honestly, at this point, I barely think about meal planning, grocery shopping. It just happens, and that's the time I get back for everything else. So gang, you're gonna love Hungry Root as much as I do. For a limited time, get 40% off your first order, plus get a free item in every box for life. Click the link below or go to hungryroot.com and use code SAUCE. That's 40% off your first box and a free item of your choice for life over at hungryroot.com and use code SAUCE. Hungry Root, thanks for sponsoring today's video and for all of the incredible food. I just love it. Protein is the most studied macronutrient for natural GLP-1 stimulation. When you eat protein, your gut breaks it down into amino acids and peptides, and those directly trigger the L cells in your intestine to secrete GLP-1 and another satiety hormone called PYY. 2025 study out of the UK, and I'll link it below, compared high protein breakfasts to high carbohydrate, low protein breakfasts, and found the high protein meals produced significantly larger increases in both GLP-1 and PYY. And importantly, it didn't matter if the protein was plant-based or animal-based. Same amount of protein, you got the same effect. I've talked about this before, people say it's crazy, but a whole block of extra firm tofu at breakfast, 40 plus grams of protein at 8 a.m. That's front loading a ton of protein first thing in the morning, keeps food noise at bay for a good portion of the day. Now, fiber works completely different mechanism. When fermentable fiber reaches your colon, your gut bacteria ferments it and it produces something called short-chain fatty acids. Sure, a lot of you have heard of this. Those short-chain fatty acids then bind to receptors on your intestinal L cells and directly stimulate GLP-1 secretion. It's like having little workers in your body saying, it's time, push the button. It's neat. A 2026 review in Frontiers in Endocrinology confirmed this pathway clearly. Dietary fiber boosts GLP-1 through SCFA production in the colon. This is a sustained effect, not a spike and crash. It runs through the day. I know when I did my fiber test where I increased my fiber for 30 days, one thing that I said pretty clearly in that video was the food noise really disappears. For me, it made a dramatic difference. I've also noticed that when I was doing my lentils every day. And that's why I wanted to tell you about the lentils in this video, but any fiber, increasing fiber will do that for you. Lentils is a great way. 1 cup of cooked lentils has 15 grams of fiber, 18 grams of protein. So you're getting 2 mechanisms. They're arguably one of the most complete single meal for triggering GLP-1 secretion. It's kind of incredible. I typically make a big batch on Sunday or Monday, cost a couple dollars. I eat lentil soup a couple days a week. And when I was dieting, it was one of the biggest reasons for how my afternoons got so much easier. Now, volume is one of the most underrated and misunderstood. I talked about this recently when I ate my potato a day every day. Your stomach has stretch receptors. They're actual mechanoreceptors embedded in your stomach wall. When your stomach is physically stretched, those receptors fire. They signal your vagus nerve, shoot signals up to the brain to say, stop eating, that's enough. Physical volume and GLP-1 receptors work along the same pathways. I like to do this with some fiber, but typically on a night where I need to do either like a cut or when I was in the middle of my diet, 2 large russet potatoes covered with some beans, maybe a little bit of salsa, some sort of yogurt or something, jalapenos, green onions, however you want to do it, sticking away from fat as much as you can. And you end up with a very low calorie plate with a ton of food, large portion. Potatoes are also at the top of the satiety index. They will keep you fuller longer than just about any food on the planet. This is researched back, and it's not based on how many calories you're getting. It's literally based on how much food volume you're putting in your stomach. I've been releasing a bunch of food volume videos because it is an important trigger in relearning how to eat during and after weight loss and getting into a healthy lifestyle. Now here's the part that sounds wrong, but isn't. Sensory specific satiety. Eating the same meals on rotation or deliberate monotony with your food. It's not a failure of willpower or creativity in the kitchen. It's a feature that you can take advantage of, and something a lot of bodybuilders use, pro athletes use, and if you're trying to get fit or trying to get lean, you can pull that lever as well. Food variety actually increases what researchers say is the reward receptors of food. It creates a reward value around eating. When every meal is new and exciting, your brain's dopamine system stays active around food. Essentially, that's food noise just by another name. It's the same thing. When your meals can be somewhat predictable, that reward response dampens. Decision fatigue disappears. You stop negotiating with yourself at every meal. You know exactly the portion you're gonna have, what you're gonna have, and you just consume it. It's fuel. The noise gets quieter, not because you're restricting, because you removed that reward system. I see some comments sometimes from people stating that it's peasant food or that it's, what happened to the joy in food. That can still be there. These are only for moments in time. It's to retrain your brain to get out of needing the reward daily. So look, I'm not telling you what to eat. I'm telling you what worked for me, what quieted a lifetime of food noise. And I'm telling you the science behind it. Protein stimulates GLP-1 directly. Fiber stimulates it through your gut microbiome, and volume stimulates the same vagal pathway that GLP-1 uses. All of these are real levers that your body already has. And boring is the point. You don't need a different meal every single day. When you find something that works, you can just repeat it for a while. And that's okay. When you get sick of it, change it up and try something a little bit different for some time. It's okay to change it. The patterns will slowly reduce the noise over time, so that way the noise will not control how you eat. Gang, all of the research that I referenced in today's video is linked in the description below. If this content is useful to you, please click the subscribe button. This is really the path that I've wanted this channel to take for some time. It's something that I'm very much interested in, something that I'm very excited about, and I really want to motivate people to be able to experience what I've been able to experience over the last few years and completely changing my life. That's the whole channel. Thanks for being here. I will see you on the next one.